Hello, everyone. This is a thematic introduction to the course. Please take the time to watch the other video I posted, the practical course tour, which is simply going over requirements for the course and how it will proceed. My name is Dan Tui. I've been teaching what I still think of as computer ethics. I think this is called ethics and information technology, but it's essentially computer ethics or digital ethics. I think maybe the best term for it. For a long time at Drexel, and I've taught it in different ways, but I had a certain way of teaching it that I was happy with. But earlier this year, I thought that it was time for somewhat of a renovation or revision of the course because I felt that recent events having to do with the introduction of AI tools uh, to the world, especially through ChatGPT, had really challenged us in many ways, and that it was time for a computer ethics course that focused exclusively on the ethical challenges of artificial intelligence. So that's what the course is. It is generally a digital ethics, computer ethics course, but the focus is on AI. So that's if you look at the main menu of the course, it gives you a pretty good idea of the kind of things that we'll be looking at. So the course really has, I would say, two parts, maybe three. But the basically the first 2 weeks we will be looking at things that don't have anything to do directly with artificial intelligence, and that's week one, where we look at traditional ethical decision making theories. Basically, one built on the philosophy of Immanuel Kant, we'll call it Kantianism, and the second, utilitarianism. Just as a, this is important. So the first task really in this course is to become familiar with these two approaches to dealing with ethical problems. Week two, very vital reading for us, and that's a reading of Hans Jonas's Technology and Responsibility, Reflections on the New Task of Ethics, in which he, not thinking directly or exclusively or even perhaps at all about computers, he's thinking about the effects of the power of modern technology on our way of dealing with ethical questions and lays out a basic thesis in that essay that we no longer have the ethical resources to deal with the kind of problems that our incredibly powerful technologies pose us. This is really important to read this thoroughly and understand it thoroughly because it's this thesis that we will be thinking about continually in this course as it relates to artificial intelligence. And the question is, do we have the ethical resources? Do we have the traditional do our traditional ways of dealing with ethical questions, do they really satisfactorily meet the challenge of the kind of problems that AI poses now and will pose more and more in the future, I think. That's the basic idea of the course. So it's incredibly important in the first 2 weeks to understand what's going on because it will be the basic structure of the rest of the course. After I think the third week, I felt that it was necessary for us to think about what artificial intelligence actually was. I am not a I'm not a computer person. I'm not a STEM person. I'm not a science person. So I can't be much of a guide there. But I've chosen some readings that raise the question about what artificial intelligence is, and I think perhaps the most important, definitely the most important reading this week is Turing's 1950 essay, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, in which he introduces the idea of the imitation game, what's come to be known as the Turing test, I guess, which is, I think, really, really interesting in terms of thinking about what artificial intelligence is and how we'll deal with it. After that, we're pretty much going to go topic by topic, starting in week four. How will AI affect literacy, our ability to read and write? How will AI affect creative endeavors like composing music and poetry and doing scientific research? How will AI affect the traditional roles and experiences in therapy, religion, and just generally teaching. Um, Something that is on a lot of people's minds: how will AI affect the labor market, work? How is AI already affecting politics, both democratic politics and the politics of repressive regimes? Then in week 9, we move to another topic, but one that's perhaps more philosophical. The idea that at a certain point an AI might have to be treated as a person, which is a deep problem, and certainly there we'll be drawing upon the Jonas thesis. And then finally, the general idea of the singularity, which we could do a whole course on. But the singularity being essentially what would happen to the world if a true artificial intelligence were to emerge, the kind of transformative effects of that. So that is the course. It was prompted by my growing concern once I realized that whether you want to call it an AI or not, I'm sure that many people would say it's nothing like an AI, but something like ChatGPT, the sheer power of it really shocked me as a teacher, as a citizen, just a person interested in the fate of the world. So I think this is a very timely subject. I hope that you find it, not only find it interesting, but find it useful in terms of your navigation of what is essentially, I believe, a new world.